We're back here at the beautiful Green Valley Ranch Resort and Spa in Henderson, Nevada. Welcome back to Get Sharp, everybody. Joe Fortenbaugh and our man Bryan Leonar from pregame.com joining us again today to break down a big game that we're seeing in the AFC South Division as the 7-5 Tennessee Titans play host to a red-hot 9-3 New Orleans Saints team. Now, Bryan, we take a look at this game. The Saints have been blowing people out. They've been doing it on national TV. Everyone thinks since that loss against St. Louis, this team has bounced back. They finally hit their stride. They're peaking at the right time. But what's interesting is about 87% of the early action coming in on the Saints, but the lines moved from New Orleans -4.5 to New Orleans -3.5. Possible trap game here?
Yeah, this is a situation where you're going to have the public going to be on the high-flying Saints. You score 80 points in a 2-week period, you're going to be an overrated team. But the wise guys are going to be on Tennessee here. The need is actually more for Tennessee. In fact, you can take a look at the Saints' schedule, non-conference game here. They've got more important games coming up. So it's a situation here where Tennessee needs this game. In fact, I was able to get Tennessee at 2-1. Will they make the playoffs? Because I know if they win this game, they have a very easy schedule going down the last of the season. But last week they played Houston. Houston's got a lot of injuries. They've got a 2-game lead in their division. They're going to rest their players in the final week. Tennessee's got, I believe they have Indy and Jacksonville the other 2 weeks. So this is a huge game for Tennessee. In fact, somebody told me that the Tennessee coaches said, hey, we don't worry about this week. If there's somebody coming over the middle, you hit them and you hit them hard. You don't worry about getting thrown out of the game. That tells me the coach knows this is their season right here. So you got a home underdog with a lot more motivation.
They've quietly, the Titans, have covered 4 straight games, but it's kind of like what you just alluded to. The AFC South, no one's really talking about them. Houston's 9-3, no one's mentioning them much because of the quarterback situation. We're never going to hear much about the Jags except the fact that they continue to get primetime games. And, Indianapolis is the worst team in the league. Should we be paying more attention to this Titans team? Because I'll tell you what, is the public going to come in, basically what I'm getting to, on the Saints? Do you think people have finally started to recognize this Tennessee team as a legitimate contender? Or is it just going to be, hey, the Saints are 3.5? That's an easy one.
Yeah, I still think the Saints are the public team and Tennessee's a team. You can tell a lot by how the teams approach the games. Who are the most popular teams? The Packers, the Patriots, the Saints. What do they all have in common? Great offenses, shaky defenses. Who's the teams nobody ever talks about? The Baltimores, the Pittsburghs, Tennessee. Tennessee's got a great defense, and their offense, now that they've got the running game going again, this is another team that's going to go under the radar. Something
to keep in mind for this one, New Orleans 3-3 on the road this year. That defense is giving up 26.5 points per game away from home. So certainly susceptible, considering Matt Hasselbeck, Chris Johnson's finally getting going. Tennessee's offense is kicking into high gear, despite the loss of wide receiver Kenny Britt a while ago. When you see a line like this early in the week, 4.5 points to the Saints, but then it moves a point towards Tennessee, does that trigger something with you? What's the first thing you think?
First thing I think is, if I like Tennessee, I better grab that 4.5 or that 4 when it's out there, because 4 is somewhat of a key number. And in fact, I've got 4.5 in my pocket on this game. But you talked about the Saints on the road. Actually, I went back. 2 of their games on the road are actually in domes. When they're not playing in the dome, they're outscoring the opposition 107-105. And out of the 4 teams they have played, only one of those teams actually has a winning record. So they have not fared well on the road, on grass, and they've had a very easy schedule in that regard. Tennessee may be the best team they played on grass this season.
That's going to be, I'm looking forward to this one, and a lot of people are going to pass over it. That's why we're featuring it today on Get Sharp. Total in this game, high total for what we would consider a Tennessee team not getting a lot of love. Like when you said, you look at quarterbacks Brady Breeze, you think over. You probably don't think that with Matt Hasselbeck. Opens at 48, moves to 50, despite the fact that, 75% is on the over, so that's kind of natural. So does a high-scoring game favor the Saints in this one, or can Tennessee hang with them in that situation? What I'm trying to do is draw a correlation between the total and the spread.
Yeah, I think there is a correlation. If you like the Saints, you'd probably like the over here. And the move from 48 to 50, as you mentioned, the 75% of the public action, I think that's more public action. The pros are not going to play over a 48 in this game. They think they can, in fact, that line's going up. The Saints have been on national TV, scored a lot of points. If you want to play it, you wait for that line to get into the 50s, and then you would play the under. So it might have been, in fact, it may have actually been a couple of professionals came in and played it at 48, knowing it's going to go up, so they can hedge it a little bit, come back under 51 later, and maybe set themselves up for a middle.
Last question, do the Titans make it 5 straight against the spread?
Yep, I believe they do. In fact, I predict they win this game outright.
Beautiful stuff. Bryan Leonar from pregame.com. Thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck today, everybody. Enjoy the games, and we will be back with a lot coming up in the near future. Bryan will be joining us as well as bowl season gets underway. Get Sharp's going to be covering all of them. Enjoy the games, everyone. Talk to you soon.